So good.
That was funny. You said it was.
Just breaking shit.
I
know. Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Wake.Show, everybody. I hope it all is well. And I mean it. Happy Friday. We have Sam over my shoulder. Wait, we've decided that's not the best way to put this. Sam's right there.
Hey.
Hey. Chris McCarty right there.
Yo.
Hey. Oh, wait. Turn on that microphone back there. Is it on? There we go.
Hey.
I got something I want to play. I took a little video of what you were doing down in the psych room earlier. Cool. We'll play that here in just 1 second. But happy Friday, everybody. And welcome to the Wake.Show. My name is Chris Fisher. You all know that. This is my personal page. As Sam is,
know.
Yeah. As Sam is handling social media. Drew, how you been? Chris, hello. Brenda, Giuseppe, Malaya, thank you so much for being here. Malaya, how's everything? It's been a long time. All right, is that crooked? Is that everything? I guess that looks fine. Like you like the background there? Oh shoot! Look at the light again. See, Sam, this is something that never bothered me, but now that Cords has pointed it out, it's bothering me. And now that I pointed out to you guys, it's probably going to bother you, so I'm going to keep my head over here so that you can't see the reflection in the background. See what I'm talking about?
I do.
Come back over here like this. But I don't want... Here's the thing. You know, Chris, when it comes to music, I know you're somewhat of a perfectionist, as most musicians are. Getting this show up and running... those little things would not register to me because there were other things that were more important, right? And so those little things, when you go to focus in, and the light guys would come in here and try to move all the lights so that doesn't happen, well, all the other lights would be off to me, right?
Right.
So you adjust the lights to make sure that doesn't happen. Well, then the light's not filling the room like I want it to fill the room.
Right.
So I don't. So that to me is secondary. Like it doesn't even matter. But now, of course, now that Cords has pointed it out a couple times, it's glaring.
It's just that's all you see now, right?
Literally,
that works.
Literally glaring. So, how you doing, man?
I'm well, man. I'm really feeling well.
Good.
The whole thing downstairs was fun. Just creating is always good.
Welcome back. Chris and I had a good conversation yesterday, interesting conversation yesterday that turned into more conversation afterwards about race and whatnot. You want to? Let's read.
I heard about that, but I wasn't here for it.
Yeah, it was funny because what happened was yesterday in the show. Chris was reading something online, and I happened to notice an ad for mugshots, and I just glanced, and I just saw these 3 minutes, and I'm like, oh, that guy looks like me, and I was just annoyed because I just felt like it was someone trying to feed into fear. But what I didn't disclose was why that was so touching to me, and I had to ask Chris. I'm like, hey man, did I seem a little edgy about that? And he was like, no, that's simple.
Yeah. So, it was interesting.
I
don't even recall the story we were talking about now, but what drew his eye was clickbait. The little clickbait, you'll see it all the time. Mugshot. Look, and that usually it is your city. Look who was arrested in St. Petersburg, Florida last night. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not only that, you were drawn there because you saw somebody that looked like you.
Right.
It set you off a little.
It did. Just because what happened was I had a run-in with the cops days ago.
Just a few days ago. So it was still tender. And you felt like in that moment you were...
I felt less than a human being.
Right. And that you were profiled. And that's the only reason that you were being treated the way you were being treated.
Yes.
Right.
And what was interesting, it was the same cop that did it to me the year before, but it was a different buddy cop. So, you know what I mean? So you got
a different partner. You mean a different partner?
Different buddy, yeah, buddy. Oh, buddy came around the corner talking about.
It was a different buddy company.
Partner, buddy.
Oh shoot! Real quick before you move on, is there a way for because I won't be able to run to procure Roy's review for today? Because I wasn't even thinking he's not here, but he recorded it somewhere.
I'm not sure where it is. Let me text him.
Oh, yes, thank you. Because if you put it on some kind of a drive, maybe we can access it to pull it up. But and that's only because you said buddy cop. It made me think of movies now. So and Roy's is not here today to give us his movie review. Do you know what he reviewed? Please tell me it was.
He reviewed the Oscars, the different movies that won.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect. All right, so back to your story. So this is the same cop. You recognized the officer from a year ago.
Of course, I recognized him.
All right.
So what happened a year ago was I got pulled over for a stop sign that didn't exist.
Okay.
My babysitter lived back there, so I knew that there were no stop signs there. I've been taking my kids there for a while. And it was right after, I forget what happened in the United States. Trayvon, one of those situations just happened.
Okay. And you were a hoodie. You were wearing a hoodie and had some skills in your pocket.
I'll tell you, I had my gator shoes, my like nice, expensive, businessman shoes.
Well, that's your problem, Chris. Black guys aren't allowed to have nice things,
right? So
you should.
And so then, what happened?
No, just someone said the audio was overmodulated. I just wanted,
okay,
so that people could hear us.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Sorry
thank you
about
very
that,
much.
Chris.
Check. Oh, you guys thank you so much for staying on top of it. You're right. That was horrible. 100% my fault. Continue.
And so then, he just basically gestured for me to get out of the car. Didn't say get out, didn't just gestured. But truth be told, I'm not going to not get out of the car. Like,
right.
Black people are just dying from, I'm not doing that. So I go along with it. And next thing you know, I'm getting frisked and felt up and this and down. And then he's going, asking, do I have any weed? I'm like, no. Now, mind you, Valentina, I've got my baby's urine on my shirt. I'm like I'm a dad. I'm trying to figure this thing out. I got, and so then they're like, is that alcohol? I said, no, sir, it's urine. Like, what do you think? I was so drunk that I was just peeing on myself. Like, come on, man, And so then this other cop, the one that I recognize, he pulls up. This guy starts asking me about the shoes that I'm wearing, every single place that I'm playing. He's asking me how much money I'm making in all these places. Okay. He's asking too many invasive. This is just for a stop sign that didn't. Just really necessary for a stop sign that didn't really. So I mean, they ran through the whole car. Of course, they didn't find anything. But I remember.
You're
a
black guy with dreadlocks, so chances were you had weed on you somewhere.
Of course.
So there's nothing there, of course. So here we go. Now we fast forward to a year later, which is 3 days ago, and I see the same dude, and I'm like, yo, triggers. You're the guy, and right off the bat, he's again not even letting me even speak. He's asking me why your car here, and I'm trying to load in and load out of the show. I'm going to work. I've been doing this for the last 2 years. So I calmly explain to him. He cuts me off, and I'm just right back in this. I get it. All you're seeing is black dude with dreadlocks. I get it. So I'm just quiet. Just at this point, they finally let me go because he's let me see your ID. So he goes, well, your driver's license is fine. I know, just all this for hazards and me just trying to unload. Really, this is necessary? Gotcha. So I'm a little from that. And then I see that's why I said to Chris, I'm like, yeah, it might be part of, that's why my man, like this dude's obviously looking at me as this and scared. But then you said something very interesting about some of the people that you knew that joined the force, that joined the cops. They said that they were not racist, but then became. Well, it's just crazy.
Well, I was having a conversation. This was stemming from a conversation with a buddy of mine who's on the force for many years. Super great guy. Can't wait for you to meet him. I don't want to use his name right now because I don't want anything taken out of context. But he was telling me a story about, and this was years after being in the force, and he's already retired. And somebody I think he told me only has ever pulled his gun like once, or in his career, that kind of, But anyway. He said he was at the gym and wasn't even really paying attention. But
Oh, I am sorry. I did not know my audio was on.
Man, Chris is everywhere, man. That's amazing.
Sorry. I was checking the stream. Sorry.
All right. Long story short, he said that he was at the gym, saw a black guy, dreadlocks, tattoos, and immediately started to profile. His brain immediately started going into a mode. And he said just years and years of being on the force and experience. And so he goes, but I felt like complete shit because within a matter of seconds, I quickly realized that I knew the guy and I've known him since childhood. He's the sweetest guy and this and this and this. And he goes, but I hate the way that my brain started to process that moment. But he also this has to do with experience too. This isn't like they're just being trained. This is experience as well that has gotten his brain to this place.
And that's what's so rough about it because I don't know what these people have seen.
But can we?
know?
But I want to go back. I want to go back to yesterday because I got a text from my buddy after the show, Max, and we were talking. It was a long text. Basically, he goes, "Hey man, just wanted to let you know that I've been missed, and I catch about an hour or so of the show. Think it's coming along really well, and this is somebody I really respect his opinion too when it comes to this kind of stuff. The show, I think it's coming along well. I like it when you have a guest in there, like you did today. You can bounce stuff off each other and continue the conversation, and it's a little bit more than just you talking by yourself. Although your guys' opinion on the mugshots was kind of crazy, but to each their own. And this is something that I brought up afterwards because Chris got fixated on that little ad choice that had 9 pictures.
6.
Or 6. Was it 6? 6 pictures. And they're all mugshots. Click here to see the mugshots in your area. We've all seen that. And he got fixated because one of the guys was black with dreadlocks. And so it started to grate on him. I didn't see it the same way, but that's kind of the point. That's why we have to have these conversations, right?
Yeah.
Because I will never have that experience. And so we're trying to understand the other sides, or not the other side, but other people's experience so that we can, move forward. And, get done what needs to get done.
Yeah. Like empathy, apathy, those kind of... we can start seeing each other ourselves. And I mean, because I almost feel like I wish I had told that story. Because imagine if I had said, hey, this just happened to you, and then that's probably why that triggered, because that I don't see that. But, maybe that would have helped him be like, man, more understanding, which is why I said to you, I'm like, man, maybe I should have said the whole thing to really give people like, man, that happened, like that another vantage point.
So
perspective.
He and I, this was off the air after we had shut down the stream yesterday. He and I kind of came back to this conversation and kept talking and this, and Chris shared some more experiences about his childhood, the basketball story. And so you can share that if you want here in a second. But in that moment, I realized, holy shit, that can be very scarring, especially at the right time and place in your development, And then so I couldn't stop thinking about this yesterday when I got off the air. And then something entered my head that and I'm gonna just throw it out there. It's gonna sound kind of crass, and it's a discussion thing. I'm not pointing any fingers. This is I wonder if there's such a thing because it's like PTSD, but racial PTSD because of certain moments in your life when it was blatant, flagrant, no gray area racism. It stung your psyche just right. So, and then it's reinforced throughout your life. You have other stories of other type dealings with cops and this and this and this that it almost like now your brain is looking for the racism or the racial stuff around you. Kind of like when a veteran comes home, somebody with PTSD, they're looking for that person. Looks like they're getting ready to jump out. Look at the look in their eyes. They're up to something. You know what I mean? So you're extracting that from your environment.
I will tell you that my father is about to be 70 years old.
Okay.
He lived in a time when he was, ducking from bricks being thrown in his head walking with Dr. King. My father told me, and of course, just me and my father talking, he said, I believe every black person born before like 1980, 70, something like that, he goes, have mental scars, or he said like at least some kind of mental, he goes, I just believe that based on, the trauma, dogs being sicked on you, I mean, just all the belittling, all of that. And so when you said that, I'm like, man, so he says that, but I can remember, being young and remember my dad, warning me about the world and these things I didn't want to believe. And I used to think my dad was crazy. I was tiny. I was like 7, 8, 9, 10. And be like, man, Dad, it's not like that. No, Dad, it's not like that. And now here I am as a man. And I've seen things that aren't as, this.
Some of the shit he saw.
Exactly. But and here's the story. But it's on the spectrum. And I'll tell you, and then remember the story I told. So, and I said, what would happen if, so the story we're talking about, black people, white people, so on and so forth, the differences. I was a 17-year-old, ooh, this is bothering me, I've got to go back.
Good.
I was a 17-year-old boy.
By the way, I don't mean good in a way like I want to exploit your emotions.
Like it's good for us to,
right.
It's good for us to really,
right.
This is good. This is a good thing for us to be. Okay.
Right.
17-year-old boy, never got in trouble, just never been in trouble with the law, didn't fight people, didn't steal, just a good kid, And I was playing on a school where it was just me and another kid who were black kids. We went to a private school. and we were playing in this small city, and every single time that I touched the basketball, people in the stands would make degrading animal sounds like monkey noises. So you have to understand, a guy like me who loves people, loves kids, devotes my life to that, like, goes to, sick children, and for me to see that's just, wow, like, man, just because of the color of my skin.
How do you
had
keep
nothing to do with who I am, just my color. Whoa.
How do you what pressures you after the first time that happens? What pressures you forward, or are you so stunned in the moment you're like, I don't even know what to do, I'm just going to keep playing basketball?
Well,
instead of either confronting it or leaving or going,
Well, this is the thing I know. I mean, you're in the middle of a game, and I'm a kid. I'm not who I am now. Like, who I am now is like, if this is just going to be allowed to go, I'm not sitting here. I'm out.
Right.
And then you could have the whole debate about, oh, well, then they won. They won. No, dude, I'm winning. I'm saving myself from that nonsense. It doesn't make sense.
And not everything needs to be a battle in your life.
No, there's enough battling. Just
pick and choose.
But yeah, so I feel like, my father was there, so I'm sure, Charles's father's there. So it was like, those poor guys had to relive this, and they're like, man, our kids and they know we're just good kids. So I don't know. I feel like, and it's crazy because I'm sure someone heard the story and giggled. I'm sure, and I'm sure someone heard the story and gasped. It's like it's a people thing. We're just
it's that story that got me thinking about kind of how the brain works and how you were talking about those scarring. That's what happens. Right. Unfortunately, those things in our lives, the things that you can't remember, the things you can remember, are the things that kind of shape you or help shape you.
Right.
And they're little kind of scars in your psyche along the way that push you in a different direction. That then forces you sometimes to constantly look for those things in life, so you can avoid them, so you don't have to go through that again. But
I can tell you that I've had more positive run-ins with police than negative.
There you go.
Like I can tell you that after that happened, I got pulled over again, and I was like, oh no. And this dude's like, hey man, first of all, I'm not gonna do anything to you, because I could see the look in your face, like, we're cool. And I'm like, man, thank you so much. He's like, yeah, there are good guys out there, good. I mean, and it was a balancing effect. So I mean,
and that guy gave him weed.
And that guy, oh my God, he let me go. He's like, hey, listen, man, the spots. Like, if you get in trouble, let me know. But yeah, I've seen it all, man. I've seen, like I said, I had my knee surgery, and I got pulled over once, and the cop asked me 4 different times. It's a story on my Facebook. 4 different times, do you have a gun? No. Do you have a gun? No. Okay. Do you have a gun?
You're like,
no. I'm kneed up, like I can't really move. He's got me in front of his car. I'm like this, like with a break, like, dude, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna ask you one more time. And I'm like, and I'm getting angry, and I'm like, this is just horrible. And then something told me, show the guy the video with you and the kids. So I'm like, hey sir, do you have a second?
So I reached into my pocket.
I'm filming and I show him the video with me with all the kids in Lake Wales. All of a sudden, this cop goes into sermon mode. The world needs you. I know listen, this is a crazy story, man. Like, the world needs you. You're scared for some reason, Chris, because you've got this gift. I can see it here. These children need you. We need you to come here, and you're going to go through a lot of ridicule.
All of a sudden, dude, this cop goes from do you have a gun? Do you have a gun? Sizing this and that. You show him.
Can I search under your fine?
To this, then, oh my gosh, I'm in the presence of an angel.
Dude, you should read my Facebook. It'll make you go hunt the story. It was I mean, I'm sitting here like, this guy is telling me the world needs you. They're going to persecute you. They're going to say this, but I see it. It was just odd.
What? He thought you were the second coming all of a sudden?
But the video is powerful.
All right.
And enough for him to be like, and this guy's like, I'm all about church, all about God. And that's the moment I went, you don't know what this guy's seen. Mm-hmm. For him to be like, do you have a gun? Do you have a gun? I mean, and then be like, save the world, huh?
And then let's there was when Chris and I were talking, and I hope you guys don't mind. I know it's Friday, and the racial issue always seems like it is a heavy. It's not an easy issue to digest, and that's why we're still here talking about it. We're trying to figure it out. So Chris and I, this is our contribution to the conversation along the way. Personal experiences, anecdotes, and our perspective and what we think we've learned from it along the way. So I shared, so Chris was sharing me these stories, and so I shared with him a story, a run-in with a cop, Daytona Beach, and this was when I'm 21 years old. And I had a gig where I was the DJ and MC and host for Coca-Cola and all their products. Yeah, was it Yoo-Hoo and all this other stuff, I think, if I remember correctly. And they had this huge stage set up on the beach, and every day I'd have to drive down onto the sidewalk there on the beach, unload my equipment, and then same thing at night when I was coming off the beach. Well, I didn't have a permit to drive there. However, one of my first days, I didn't know what I was doing. I just run into a cop. The cop's very cool. He says, "Yeah, no problem, man. You're here early. Before, it's like 9 o'clock. Nobody's out yet. Just get it. Be careful. Get on, get off, and you're fine." A few days pass, or a week or two. I can't remember. It was a whole spring break that I was out there, and all of a sudden, a cop pulls me over as I'm doing this, and he doesn't go, "Hey, listen, you can't do that. I'm sorry. Get your car off the sidewalk, and I got to write you a ticket." It wasn't like that. I mean, he ripped into me like I had done something to his family, and I didn't know what was going on. Next thing you know, I'm in the back of the cop car, and because I had just driven down onto the sidewalk there, and this guy was losing his marbles on me. Now, my tag was expired as well, so there you go. There's something for him to hold on to, to get me with. But the way I was being treated just didn't make any sense. So then I see the cop that lit me on the beach a few days earlier come up on his motorcycle, and he stops at the window. He stops at the window, and is going back and forth and talking with this guy. And I'm just sitting there in the back of the squad car, and all of a sudden, the guy that lit me on the beach originally, that was on the bike, goes, "What the F happened to you? I trained you better than this. You are a dick," or "you are an a-hole," something like that, and then rode off. Well, in that moment, I did not feel vindicated. I didn't feel like, yay. I was like, oh my God, you can't pull the pin on that and then leave. So I'm in the back of this guy's car for I don't know how many more minutes. He tows my car because of whatever and this and this and this. But what I told Chris is I've shared this story on the radio before in the past when we're talking about racial stuff. Because looking back at that moment over 20 years ago, I still to this day don't know why this man reacted the way he reacted. And I told Chris, I go, however, if I were black, then I would know exactly why he acted the way he. I would have a reason. I would have a story.
Something to be like. I think that would be a reason why.
Right.
Exactly.
But I don't. So to this day, so my point in that, and I'm not trying to be a jerk in those moments or go, you black people have it better. It's not what you know me, Chris. We've been,
of course.
But it is a sometimes cops are jerks.
Yeah.
Story.
Period. That's true.
Sometimes Denny's servers are just horrible servers.
Right.
But if I've gone through the experiences that you have gone through, where there is no gray area, it's very obvious what's happening in those moments, and you've been scarred at those very pivotal moments in your development, well, then of course, because it feels exactly like it did that day when this thing happened, so it makes perfect sense. So that brings me back to, what do you think about PRSD? Post-racial shit syndrome.
Whatever. I probably have it. But here's the thing that I want everyone to know that's listening. I'm not the type of individual who likes to speak on negativity because there's enough of that happening. I mean, people go on their Facebook and they just bleed all over Facebook. So, it's one thing to be, angry black guy who's like constantly going on, this. I've never done that. I don't go on there and talking about things like that. I just feel like in this situation here where we are really trying to do something positive, and I know you and you know me, and we would like it better if races didn't even exist. So I feel like, maybe this is the time to talk about it when it's years past, and so people can be like, you can listen to it more. It's easier to take when someone's that's not their MO. He's always talking about it. It's just like, all right. Yeah, I think it helps better that way.
And so that is the end of the racial discussion for today.
Yay!
There's no conclusion. There's no resolution. This is just we are contributing this is a real, genuine discussion, and we're contributing along with everything else that you're consuming out there, and hopefully it all comes together eventually. And like Chris was saying, we're not talking about race at all in the next generation.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is all. The lesson here is just, people, the outside world is going to try to change who you are. Like, anytime something could happen, I could be like, F Whitey, but I'm not. Like, just don't let the outside world change who you are on the inside. Don't follow that.
It is much easier said than done.
Hey, man.
All right, let's go over some of the stuff you should know. Well, what I pulled up for today, and then Sam can throw me under the bus on why it looks the way that it looks today. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. Boom, boom, boom. All right, we got on this day, Free for All Friday. It was just going to be Free for All Friday because I had done nothing before I came in here today. It has been a long week. No excuses. I'm sorry. There's no excuses. Beer equals smarter. I can't wait to get to this story. Real research. Drinking beer in the shower will make you smarter. Un baits Trump. I'm curious on how you guys, this is the way I see it anyway, extends an offer to meet with our president, Kim Jong-un does, and talk about, toning down the nuclear rhetoric. The way I see it is I think Putin's behind it. And this is because this is so genius. You get the president of the free world, the leader of the free world, to stoop down to your level of insanity, and then all of a sudden you flip the script and play Mr. Mature. You negotiate some stuff with South Korea. Things start to look good there for a second. Then you have South Korea. Then you have South Korea deliver the message that, oh, hey man, things are coming along nicely. Mr. Trump, would you like to speak? And you completely flip the script because now he looks like a world
anger guy.
Yeah, he looks like a world leader, and you're sitting there tweeting out whatever you're tweeting out. Yeah. So we'll come back to that. Maybe not, because that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. Then you see. Here's the rest of the list. Ready, Chris? Yeah. Trump does stuff. Trump says stuff. Some people angry. Some people happy. That's the rest of my list.
It's so real.
We have the traffic citation story as well. The fake traffic citations.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Traffic citations?
And before we get to that,
yeah, it's interesting.
Have you gotten popped with by these
the red light cameras?
Yeah.
People are getting emails that are scam emails saying we have this charge from you, and cops are saying you need to check to make sure your municipalities have actual red light cameras because people are paying these scam artists.
Sons of bitches.
Everybody's just
sons of bitches.
I know where they came from.
Who came from?
Mattress Firm.
Oh my God. The conspiracies. I can give you a conspiracy every Friday.
It's funny because after that show, he texted me later that day. You could tell he was driving because it was such a blurry photo, and he was hanging the camera out the window, taking a picture of a mattress firm.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really wanted to come and put a mattress on the front door for y'all to come the next day, but I couldn't.
You
find
should've.
one, and it just would have been great.
A couple of mattresses with
right on instead of his chair, just right there.
I know where you are.
Oh no!
This ends now.
So I want to play a video for you guys. This morning I came in and Chris was because this is fascinating to me. I mean, for those of you that are musicians, this is probably a nothing conversation for you. But for those of us that are just wowed by people that have this kind of talent, it was really cool. So I came in and Chris is in the psych room watching a video and playing music. And then I realized what was going on. You know, you're an artist doing something for a client. You're trying to use your art to make a little bit of money, and you're laying down the soundtrack for somebody's promotional video.
It's a cool video too.
Yeah,
I like that video.
Cool. I want to come back to that. We're going to come back to that here in a second. But first, something for you, Sam.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but since the dogs aren't in today.
Oh yes, please.
The dogs aren't in today. We'll start right here. There you go, photo one.
Oh, look at him.
And Joey is not a lap dog, and so this is, to see him on a lap is always cool. This is a rare moment.
Are those your pants?
Fish pants.
Why?
Oh, fish. I like that. It's pretty cool.
You make fun of me?
No, Chris Fisher, and he's got fish on your pants. I said fish. That's why I thought.
Yeah. Don't think I did that.
I just thought, hey, listen, the artist in me picked up on it and was like, are those your pants? I liked it. I wasn't going to knock it.
There's definitely a fish theme running throughout the house.
No pants with McCartney on it. I can't, you know what I mean? You're rocking, you're winning.
Well, my name's Fish. I grew up, so this doesn't really register to me, but now the new Fisher in the house, my wife, it is something that she has visualized. So there is a fish theme that runs through some of the stuff in the house, including her husband. So that's Joey. And I think that he's only there because he's cold. It was cold this morning, and he's a little one. But then Then Roxy is like, no. That's my lap, buddy.
Oh,
Scooch.
yes.
So she hops. There we go. And that's puppy heaven right there.
That's awesome.
You got it.
Stuff you should know.
Yeah, that is stuff you should know.
This is my Friday morning. This is the way I want every morning to be.
That's
Start off.
amazing.
Wish I knew what puppy heaven looked like. Oh, thank you, fish. Now I know. Puppy heaven.
All right. So that's
the cutest.
Look at that. Look at that adorableness. This is the way I want every day to start off. That and a cup of coffee. And then, but because of this, I left my cup of coffee on the counter and did not get a chance to pound it before I came to work. So that gave me a lot of anxiety too.
Did it really?
Like I was already not having the best of mornings anxiety wise, you know. Mm-hmm. And once I got in my car and headed, and then that thought popped in my head that I left coffee on the counter that I didn't do. That like things just started to
spiral,
and it shouldn't, you know. Like if you have your friends, somebody said, "You go, hey dude, it's okay. You just forgot your coffee. It's gonna be all right." But it's stupid stuff like that where all of a sudden things will spiral, and I'm in a bad place.
I
going,
think we
how
all
the hell
do
did
that.
I get here?
We all do that, man. There's small things that just get us out of a small routine that can just
I think it just a sign of somebody's teetering on the edge is all.
I think everyone's on it. If that's the case, and then look at everybody in Starbucks, then we're all on eggs, bro, because that line is long.
Look at that one. That's the coup de grace right there. I don't even know if that's the right Latin term.
Oh.
I'm sorry for being half an idiot and not caring.
No, you're not.
Which brings us to this. All right, so let's play this video here. This was this morning when I walked into the studio. This is downstairs. This is not our main studio. It's the psych room downstairs. Huge wall. Like the curtains you see in the background are covering this big white wall and da-da-da-da-da. So, do you want to set this up real quick or play a little bit of it and then tell people what it
Go ahead
is?
and play it, and then we'll just
Okay.
That's it. That's awesome.
Okay.
And then we go to that, what's that?
What, the F major there, you're a whole step down.
So that's
Yeah, I don't even know what they're saying there. That's all Greek to me.
Wes is cool.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad you
what.
guys drive like that.
Yeah, that's Wes as well. Very talented himself. And so, what are you guys doing in that moment? I guess. Well, first of all, when I walked in, I thought maybe you were working on the new show intro for the Wake.Show.
But you nailed that yesterday.
All right, I
need
knew
to
that
hear
you weren't.
you guys duet it.
Yeah, it's
I
good,
need
it's
to.
good. Do it.
I have to hear it again. Hold on. Put me on the spot here. Hold on a second.
Someone take the high harmony, and then you can take the low harmony.
Welcome to the Wake.Show.
Okay, ready? Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I don't know if it was,
That was perfect.
I don't know if it was worth it or not.
It was worth it. It was absolutely worth it.
No,
I said that you guys should be crying when you're singing it. We should do like a video, and you guys are crying in black and white.
I like this.
We'll do it for the extended version. The extended version will write out the whole verses and everything to go along with it. That's just the hook.
Little slam poetry in there.
So what are you doing here, man? And have you ever done stuff like this before? Because
No.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay. So what we're doing, I was given a video to look at. It had no sound to it. And the idea was, what do you see? What music would you come up with? That's the video right there.
And I wanted to show, and I don't want to show you the video. I gave you a little still here, but I don't want to show you the video because obviously this is something that the client did, so it's not mine to show yet.
Right. And so what I did was I just watched it and just started playing music to, watched it first and then watched it again and just started playing music to what it felt like. And then and we came up with almost like a classical type, it's definitely interesting. And then
where does it start? Because does it start with a rhythm? When you're watching that video, does a rhythm start to form in your head, or does a melody start to develop in your head? Is it hard to say?
An energy.
Okay.
You get an
a
energy
mood
from yes. So when I'm watching this video, and not to give too much away, but it's like, someone's losing their eyesight. And they're, starting off on the golf course, and then it doesn't really go well. So right away I'm thinking minor. That's sad. That's not good. So that just, boom, and it just came out. And then we just kept going, and I'm watching, and then the scene changes, and the music changes, and then everything changes, the mood changes. So I've never done anything like this before. It's really fascinating, man. And then to have somebody like Wes, who's just really great at what he does, understanding music, understanding sound, to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, it's awesome. So it's really great.
How do you see this as an artist? I would imagine there's probably a time in your career as a younger man where if somebody came to you and said, hey, I want you to lay down some stuff for a promotional video for some eye care stuff, you'd be like, man, screw you. This is art.
It's funny. Now that, and I keep tying it back, and people keep, but ever since my brother passed on, I have a different view on life, and I just want to get it because I don't know when it's going to end. And I had another buddy pass away. He's 38. I mean, this is just insane. So now it's just kind of like, you got these gifts. I just want to put it out. It's not even about money. I just want to put it out there and just add to whatever reason I have this gift. Just add to it and share it, and then go on about my business.
It's a thing when you're an artist.
Artistic integrity.
I don't want to use the term. I hate the term selling out because
I know what you mean, but no, that's the small-minded people who think that they're just for followers. They heard
Chris,
it.
They're not small-minded. They just don't have the perspective. They don't have the
When I say small-minded,
it's because you're angry in that moment and you want to lash out a hair.
No, it's not about being. What I'm saying is that someone's not looking at the big picture. Small. They're thinking,
small, narrow focused. Narrow focused.
Yeah, like you're in this circle and they want to keep you in this circle. It's small minded. I'm saying big, the world's universe. So outside of it, there's no such thing as selling out. It's art. It's music. And so here's someone that needs some music. I have some music inside of me. Here you go. If you want to use it, great. If not, okay.
Because one of the things it's very curious. I'm very curious in how this experience will go for you, and if it was something that you will then pick up on the side. And next thing you know, you're doing this stuff all the time.
I think this is great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I want to keep doing more of it.
Because somebody who's been in radio or was in radio for over 25 years, we had a lot of production CDs, right? And so when we're making commercials and stuff like that, you just pick up these things and you would hear all these different, guitar riffs and up tempo, down tempo, different lengths, all this kind of stuff. And some of them are pretty cool, or catchy or pleasant, or like, well, this is nice. And I've always wondered how many of those men and women that do that, create that, have like just given something away that had, could have been a hook, could have been that pop song, that song that they could have been paying, but it ended up just being a track for, the background of something that nobody ever even picked up on.
But there's also the story, the opposite is the story of the guy who makes a song and it's really nothing, it wasn't a big deal, and then some big organization picks it up.
That's true too.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have a song apparently that, some old song that this dude made a long time ago was nothing, and now it's like their theme song and they play it, and so this guy's got downloads upon downloads.
Yeah,
man, I had no idea this song would blow up.
You're right.
So yeah, I think it's just kind of fun to create and leave things out and let it be what it'll be,
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be curious to see how this stuff turns out.
I'm excited. I've seen the video, so hearing that's cool.
Yes.
I saw the video with no audio. So
how much time do we have with you, Sam? Because I don't want to get to stuff you should know yet, unless you have to get going soon. Then we'll get.
No, you're good.
I should get back downstairs.
Oh, you need to get back downstairs.
Well, I just want to make sure Wes and see what we're looking at.
All right. Well, let me do that. We'll just run through this stuff then real quickly, and I won't. Okay, so this is something I wanted to share with you guys. It's an email, Chris, to you and to our buddy Anthony, and it is dated July 18th, 2014. 2014, and it's an idea of a show with you and I called C Squared. I know that you remember C Squared. So here it goes. This was a meeting that we've had with Chris, and the reason that I want to bring this up is because, fast forward a few years, and who knows? Is the universe playing it?
You just walked in at this
point. I know.
Just interesting.
That's not lost on me either. That's not lost. I think they're coming up here to get you. By the way,
I literally just said to us, I got to get downstairs. This is great. This is impressive.
Well, I was going through some notes today, and I knew there was some stuff back there that I've been meaning to reference. So this is an email that I sent in July of 2014. To this guy Anthony that we told you about
the other day.
You met Anthony. Remember, Chris and I had contemplated. So this was kind of the first notes of outlining a show that Chris and I was going to do, and I thought there were some funny things here, and I wanted to bring it up with him. So here we go. Chris McCarty and Chris, by the way, I have to bring this stuff up too because the way that I write in this, I'm like, what's wrong? There's something wrong with me. So here's how I'm talking about myself and Chris McCarty. Chris McCarty and Chris Fisher are professional grade talents. It's true, but, writing that about yourself is not easy.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Independently, how can A and B Motion utilize their talents and experience and make something great? We left our meeting with the tentative launch date of August 26th, which never came to be. Well, until now. The plan is to run promos via social media and YouTube leading up to an on-location live event with Chris and Chris and the announcement of a new web-based show called C Squared. C Squared would be a weekly 1-hour video cast focused on the Tampa scene, i.e. music, entertainment, and people. Ideas which I can remember, which isn't much smiley face. So we'd start an internet radio station. C Squared would evolve into a daily podcast where they discuss the events of the day and broader issues that impact people's lives with a focus on interesting guests and caller interaction. The podcast would be 2 to 3 hours, Monday through Thursday, with a video cast on Friday. McCarty does the theme song for the show. We'll videotape the writing and making of the song for a future show, possibly the 1-year anniversary. Walk the Line is a feature with a musical guest of the week. And so here's the setup. The setup is taken from the movie Walk the Line. If you was hit by a truck and you was lying out there in that gutter dying and you had time to sing one song that people will remember before you're dirt, one song that would let God know how you felt about your time here on this earth, one song that would sum you up, what song would you play? Obviously, that was literally the line, copy and pasted from the movie. Then here we go. Be mobile and able to do live broadcasts and events on location, record, tape everything, and let me know if there's anything else. Oh, there's my phone number I've had up there for you guys the entire time. Holy shit. No wonder my phone's blowing up.
Yeah, that's wild, man. And here we are.
Rewind feature.
Right?
Yeah, son of a.
Yeah.
Man. I am not the sharpest.
Now Mattress Firm has your number.
And there was. There was another one. Oh, here's the business outline or the beginnings of a business. This was more for chords.
This is really cool.
Look how long this thing is. A kind of a, what do they call those things? Business plan, right? And then there's an executive summary. I think that's what I was trying to put. A mission statement there. Fisher Creative is a full-service digital media house, while working with artists create high quality. Oh, here's my the slug for my company too. Back then, it was Fisher Creative, where working artists come to play. Where working artists come to play. And then I come in here today.
Likes it.
I come in today.
Someone likes it.
So I email myself that this morning, and then I come in here, and there you are, a working artist, and they're playing with Wes. And they're having a good time putting doing art for money.
You ready to get back down there? I was just telling them before you come up. I'm like, I want to get down there and Can we talk about what we're doing? This is perfect. It shouldn't just be me.
I'd have to get him a different mic, or rig him up a different mic.
Hey, that's all you, man. That's all you.
We're gone, dude.
Well, we told them what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're gonna take
now,
off. So, ladies and gentlemen, this West man. We're gonna make a lot of music.
Well, listen, if you want to head down there, go ahead and head down there, and then Sam and I will get to stuff you should know. Do what you got to do.
Deuces.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Love you, Chris. Love you too, Wes.
See ya.
He's like, all right, I'm out of here. All right. Johnny Torres says it reminds me a little of the Chappelle Show intro. Chappelle Show. How you doing, Mary? It's been a long time. Dino.
Someone asked if something about sponsorships.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Do you accept sponsors if I can sell them into it?
Bob is somebody I worked with at Cox Media for.
I'm connected with him on
years.
LinkedIn. I actually do know the name.
I would imagine. I bet you if Chord sees that, he'll be excited about that to see what Bob's talking about. But yeah. Here's the thing, because You know, Cords, my partner on this, has gotten really excited about the show, and I'm glad that he's excited. You know, obviously that's what you want, and we feel like we've reached a point where we're ready to, you know, take to this next level and da 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 da. So we started talking about syndication. He was talking about and then some big time sponsorships. And for whatever reason, Sam, it's not registering right with me. Like it doesn't feel right. And I think it's because of the way that I see things, that my approach to business. But I'm not a business guy. He is. And my approach is content, community, cash, the 3 C's. And I can't remember where I got this. It's
Cash.
Well, and actually that third C is not cash. It's something else. And I can't remember what it is. But basically, here's the philosophy behind it, which rings true for me. Get your content right. So whether you're starting a show.
It's commerce.
Commerce, thank you. Oh, it's already out there, the 3 C's? I knew I didn't make it.
You should have trademarked it.
No, I knew that I heard it from somebody else. So commerce, thank you so much, because cash sounds so horrible, you know? So my thought, so after hearing that and somebody explain it, that's the way I see things too. That was reinforced when I went to help out a buddy of mine in Arkansas a few years ago, try to get some businesses up off the ground. And so I'm interacting with a lot of business owners who are starting their first business, or they've got 15 under their belt, you know, and it popped up again talking to a restaurant owner when he just opened up his doors like a month ago. And I don't want to say he wasn't concerned about. And there we are. We're back. I should not be allowed to touch things. And he said, he goes, you got to get your food right first. You got to get your food right and your service, and then you can start worrying about if you're charging too much or too little or whatever it is then. But you got to get your food right first. And so that, again, was reinforced. Content, community, commerce. So for me, where I am in my head is I don't say we're 100% perfect on the content, but we're right. We're good. We're good. We're right there in the content. Need to, you know, polish some things up, but we're good. So to me, the next thing in my head is build community. All right, community. Now let's go bring these people in. You know, so you know, from viewers, you know, people that are going to be, which you know, looking back on my business plan too, I don't call people listeners or viewers. I'm trying to come up with words because I looked, you know, the way I was visualizing what this show would be one day back in 2014 there's an interaction, there's a relationship. And so I hated calling anybody a listener or a fan or a viewer, because that just seems so one-sided. And to me, mass media has never, that's not my personal. It has been a relationship, as perverted as that may be, and by I mean perverse, you know, like as warped as that may be. That's just the way it is. That's the way I am. So that's important to me. I'll give you an example. Last week when we had Matt in for Masteries, it was a great segment. I thought this is perfect. This is what I'm talking about. Building the community. This is not only a cool guy. I like him and Valerie and everything that they're doing there over at Masteries. I can bring him in and he gives me good content. He's good on the air. And he thinks he's creative too. So when he's not like, oh, let me just come in and we'll talk beer. He goes, oh, Girl Scout cookies are out. We're going to have the Girl Scouts at the gig that night. So let me bring in Girl Scouts and we'll bring in beer to pair with it. That'll be a good bit. So to me, that's me going, all right, now we're building community. I'll start having him in on a regular basis. But as soon as we get off the air that day, I'm talking to Cords, and Cords is like, man, that was a great segment. That was awesome. Now, you know, can we get him to pay for that? You know, not for that moment that he was in there, but, you know, like come in every week and then pay for that. He's, you know, he's getting exposure. He's getting this and this and this and this and this. You know, people should be paying for that. So as he's talking, there's the part of my brain, Sam, where I'm going, like, I know he's right. I know he's right. I know he's right. But there's the other part of my brain that's going, no, build community first. We've got 743 likes or whatever right now on our Facebook page. That's nothing in the grand scheme. Like maybe when we're at 5,000 or 10,000 or something like that, we can talk about stuff like that. But I know that I'm not a businessman, and you just can't do stuff for free. But I still think that my approach, the way that I see things, will work. because we stay focused on the stuff that we're doing off the products that we're putting together outside of this. You know, like Chris, you saw, is now downstairs. He's working on putting together the music for somebody. Well, we have figured out how to use what we're using around here to give original content, or to create original content, video content for people. And so that's pretty cool. That's a product. That's a service.
Right.
So let's shore that up. You know, here's where I am in my head. Let's focus on that, like to bring money in, and then hopefully there's a point where those who are backing this money wise, because again, I know this. I'm not stupid. I know that this is it's a business in the end. But I think that we could create this show and a community, and be a little bit more non-traditional about how this show generates revenue. And I guess what it is I'm a little nervous that right here in the beginning that we're about to hook our wagons to some big, our wagons to some big horses, I guess would be the right analogy.
Right.
And then at that point you have to start placating to those horses, right? Because those horses are pulling the wagon. And I'm getting nervous that I'm going to find myself in the same place I was in, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And then it feels like if I'm not careful, that I'm giving up little pieces of my soul in times like that. So that's where the nervousness comes from. I'm not saying it is a real, that fear doesn't mean, just because I fear it, it doesn't mean that it's real. It just means it's something I have to reconcile as we move forward.
I see where you're coming from. I do understand. But at the same time, I feel like it's a good balance to have you and Chords as partners, because Chords definitely can come through at times where there is an opportunity to make the show grow, and come to you and say, okay, maybe it is time to ask for XYZ from these people. And then maybe you can come to him and say, well, maybe this isn't such a good idea.
So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. I'm learning a lot along the way. This is out of my comfort zone. Not this stuff. This stuff, for whatever odd reason, seems to be in my comfort zone, which is very unnatural for human beings. But the basic necessity, the basic crossing of the T's and the dotting of the I's of life, completely out of my wheelhouse. All right, let's get to some stuff you should know today.
Roy said he didn't have time to cut up his segment.
Okay.
So that's
cool. No Roy today?
No Roy today, but it's all right.
We'll come back to a Roy next week. And I want to see, how badly I want to see Wrinkle Before Time?
A Wrinkle in Time?
Or Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah. I want to see, there's one that just came out called Strangers, I think. And it's a horror movie that kind of looks like The Purge. But Roy said he's seen it, and it's not like, oh, this is the best movie ever, but he said it's pretty suspenseful. Yeah. I like horror movies.
I'm more of a give me back into the Wrinkle in Time fantasy world. You might think that's kind of odd for a grown ass man, 45-year-old man, but that there's in all of us, there's those little parts of our psyche that are still stuck somewhere in different parts of our development, and that's why we get get excited about big cars and different things in life.
Yeah,
there's nothing to be ashamed of unless you try to stay there all the time.
All right, what do we got for on this day?
But hold on. But my brother would gravitate more towards like normal stuff, horror flicks, and when he was playing G.I. Joe and ninjas and stuff like that growing up, like boys are supposed to. Well, at least that's what we've been trained. That's what boys are supposed to do, because this boy wasn't like that at all. Give me Harry Potter any day. Give me Harry Potter. The fantasy stuff, the stuff that can expand make me visualize a universe that is much more than just not this stuff here. There's got to be a lot more out there, because that's the way I sense things. So anything that gives me that fulfills that wonder and curiosity about what's out there. So anything, A Wrinkle in Time stuff, I see him going in and out of universe, different dimensions. That's right in my wheelhouse. Magic, all that kind of stuff. All right, I see why we should have just moved on with On This Day. On this day, we start with Barbie makes her debut, 1959. Sam, how many Barbies did you have growing up?
I had a few. It wasn't anything that I was like super obsessed with, but my parents got me a couple for Christmas that I wasn't allowed to open, and they're still in my room back home. These Barbies that they think that
Oh, wait,
are
they
going
got
to be
you-
worth it someday,
they
like
got-
worth money.
They got you Barbies and then said, don't play with it?
For a few of them, I have a couple Barbies literally in my room still from when I was a baby, and they're like Barbies from different times, and they think that it's going to be worth something someday. So I'm like, all right. But when I was younger, I remember being like, can I just open this one? One of them glows. Like, I wanted to open that one.
We have such great intentions as parents.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, now if I look up to see their value, I mean, hopefully thankful.
Isn't Barbie in the news again today, or this week?
She the new line of Barbies for the different women came out.
On this day, 1959, the first Barbie doll goes on display at the American Toy Fair in New York City. 11 inches tall with a waterfall of blonde hair. Barbie was the first mass-produced toy doll in the United States with adult features. The woman behind Barbie was Ruth Handler, co-founder of Mattel. With her husband in 1945, after seeing her young daughter ignore her baby dolls to play make-believe with paper dolls of adult women, Handler realized there was an important niche in the market for a toy that allowed little girls to imagine the future. And the new Barbies, yeah, you were just talking about, they've got like Chemist Barbie and Astronaut Barbie, right? Or something like that?
Well, this one, sometimes Barbie will do different features and they'll make them after real women in society. So I think that they have a couple out for different celebrities and different prominent figures.
All right, Sheroes. New Barbies honor heroes of today and years past. A trailblazing film director, a snowboarding champion, a pioneering mathematician for NASA. Barbie marked International Women's Day by honoring inspiring women of the present and the past. This was yesterday. The brand announced on Tuesday, just before International Women's Day on March 8th, that it has chosen 17 modern-day and historic role models to honor with one-of-a-kind dolls of their likeness. So
They have Chloe Kim in there, that snowboarder.
That's
they were
cool.
talking about.
I saw on Colbert last night, the joke was, so, because these are all, like Olympic gold medalists and women who've accomplished a lot. And so he unveiled one doll that was just, she's doing the best she can, Barbie, in sweats. He's
funny.
like, putting all this pressure, you're trying to placate to women, but now you're putting all this pressure on them. All their dolls are, hey, you got to grow up to be a gold medalist or a neurosurgeon. Yet you turn over to the boys' side and they're allowed to have turtles that eat pizza. Can't girls just have turtles that eat pizza too? And by the way, we didn't do a good job yesterday of saying Happy International Women's Day.
We took a photo, actually, of all of us here at Bake More Pies and Solzer Inc. and just posted it on Facebook.
Okay, well, this show, this guy did not do a good job of acknowledging International Women's Day, but I will say it is partly my fault. And by partly, I mean all. And here's the reason why. Is because I get a little anxious, I get a little depressed on International Women's Day because I always know what's getting ready to come. And after International Women's Day, it follows International Wear Your Wrinkly Shirt to Work Day. And that is look at this. Look, thanks to International Women's Day yesterday, this shirt's not ironed today, which was my attempt at sexist humor. But anybody that knows me and my wife knows that it's a complete lie.
Does she always gets it done?
No.
Lauren's on top of things?
No. Well, actually, no. She does most of the laundry in the house because I don't want to say this is an excuse. This is the reason, because she knows what she's doing. I just throw everything in, or I think I separate stuff into like two categories.
I have a funny story in a second too.
Into two categories, and that drives her insane. So as she knows what she's doing, and she sorts things in a certain way that she'll grab my stuff and put it in there too. But I also have to do my own laundry. Like this morning, I did my own laundry, but I did not iron. And so what's your funny story?
So my boyfriend and I live together, and we have a hamper in our room. And he loves to do this thing where he'll like take a shower and leave his clothes right next to the hamper on purpose just to make me angry.
No, it's not to make you angry. You want to know why?
I say it jokingly, but also it's so close to the hamper. And I'm always like, I'll pick it up and I'll look at him and I'll be like, it's right there.
You know what it is? It's because in his head, there's an off chance that he still might wear the thing that's on the floors because it's not really that dirty.
That's probably true.
It's not really that dirty. Yes, in the same category, in the same vein, not just a few days ago, Lauren, we're sitting there in the kitchen, and she goes, She has that same frustration in her voice. She's trembling, and she grabs a coffee mug that is sitting there on the counter next to the sink. And it's a coffee mug that I've already used. And she goes, how hard is it to take this coffee mug when you're done and put it in the sink? Why does it always end up on the edge? And you could just tell she's...
Oh, I understand.
And I go, because I there was a chance that I was going to use it again before I left. That I was going to have a second cup of coffee before I left, and I didn't. So it just stayed there on the edge. And in that moment, she goes, "Oh, like okay, well, I guess that kind of makes sense."
That's funny.
But yeah, when you see that,
that's probably why he does it too. But he also partially does it because he knows that I'll be like, "What are you
really? You
what
think
are you
he's doing it just to agitate you?
No, not just to agitate me, but I think he does it because he thinks it's funny. Also, just to put it right next to it, because I'll always look at him and be like, "Why?"
What answer does he give you when you ask him why?
He just will laugh.
Yeah, because he doesn't know why.
He doesn't
By the way,
know why.
that is the I think that is the honest answer to most of those kind of questions.
Probably, but it's all right.
What is I don't know. No, the answer is I don't know. But we're not allowed, sometime in our development, early age, when we do something and we get yelled at, the parent will go, why did you do that? And the child will go, I don't know. And then the parent will go, yes, you do know. Why did you do that? Tell me. And the kid will go, I don't know, over and over again. And then we finally learn that answer is not good enough, so we have to make up bullshit. In that moment, that will get them off our back. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. And so fast forward later on in life, we're doing the same thing. So we'll go, why did you do that? Well, and you'll come up with that. Well, because you've trained to go, oh, I can grab from here, 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 make that moment make sense of that person. They'll quit nagging me and I can move on with my day. In reality, I truly believe that in every single one of those moments, the real reality is they don't know why they did what they did in that moment, because if they had it to do over again, they would have done something completely different.
Well, he doesn't give me an answer, so I guess that's good that
he doesn't
he's
know.
just given up on excuses.
Dorsey! Johnny, my buddy Johnny says, once it's actually placed in the hamper, it's wearable for 3 days.
Honestly, he'll put it on the bed and stuff, and I'll just learn to leave it there, because if he'll go play soccer, he'll go come back, and then it's just like the clothes he was wearing when he was sitting doing whatever. Those are the clothes he's going to put back on after he takes a shower.
I think for me, I'm going to have to move the hamper, because where I disrobe and where the hamper is are up sides of the room. So it just makes up for a perfect basketball shot opportunity. And if the hamper's not open, well, all the shots are going to end up on the floor.
Exactly.
She did this morning leaving. She looked over and there's a pile of clothes on top of the hamper. When I did open the hamper and took those piles, they all fit in the hamper. But for some reason, half of my clothes were on top of the hamper instead of in the hamper.
That's pretty funny.
All right, back to Barbie. See, if Barbie would just come to life and take care of all of our house needs like a good woman, just settle down.
Whoa.
It's really not funny.
Whoa.
Sexist humor is not even fun. You can't even have fun. You can't even joke anymore. It's just too sensitive now. Just
that's
understandable.
a pretty mild joke that you just made. Like, it's fine.
But I don't think there is a cultural shift, and when culture shifts, punchlines change.
Yeah. Some of the jokes are pretty like intense, and then it's to the point where you're like, all right, but little jokes here and there, like people make jokes all the time about different things. It's fine. It doesn't bother me.
So on this day, 1781, the Spanish siege of Pensacola begins.
The Notorious B.I.G. was killed today.
Was he?
Well, back then, but yes.
Back then, where
Christopher Wallace. It is Crime, 1997.
Oh, there we are, right there in the middle of the screen.
Saw that on Twitter.
Christopher Wallace, a.k.a. Biggie Smalls, a.k.a. the Notorious B.I.G., is shot to death at a Spotlight in Los Angeles. The murder was thought to be the culmination of an ongoing feud between rap music artists and from the East and the West Coast. Just 6 months earlier, rapper Tupac Shakur was killed when he was shot while in his car in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. Ironically, Wallace's death came only 2 weeks before his new album, titled "Life After Death," was scheduled to be released. And see, that's how conspiracy theories begin. Come on, man. He's set to he dies, and then 2 weeks later his album Life After Death comes out. Come on, there's some conspiracy. There's a conspiracy that he's still alive, a conspiracy that the government did it.
There's conspiracies about everything, about Mattress Firm.
About Mattress Firm. And I think that's what happened is the Notorious B.I.G. went in and
investigated the mattress firms.
Oh, he owns all of them. He
Oh my
owns
God.
secretly runs all of them.
The Notorious Mattress Firm.
All right, so that's that in history. 1981, Japanese power plant leaks radioactive waste. Let's see, Supreme Court rules on Amistad Mutiny. What is this? 1841. Amistad. The only thing I know about Amistad is I think it was a slave ship, and they made a movie. They made a movie about it. Mm-hmm. So what is the Supreme Court rules on Amistad Mutiny? At the end of a historic case, the U.S. Supreme Court rules, with only one dissent, that the African slaves who seized control of the Amistad slave ship had been illegally forced into slavery and thus are free under American law. This is 1841. In 1807, the U.S. Congress joined with Great Britain in abolishing the African slave trade. So that happened. You know, there's so much we don't know, or I don't anyway, and maybe the kids these days, you guys do know. Maybe you guys were taught a little better history by the time you came around, but, you know, coming out of the 80s, I don't, you know, for me, when it comes to the slave stuff, that like culminated with the Civil War, and that's when everything went down. But this has been a couple of things now that you and I have gone over on this day that go back to the beginning of the 1800s and seeing that this stuff started to take place slowly, but slowly going back decades before the Civil War. So in 1807, the U.S. Congress joined with Great Britain in abolishing the African slave trade, although the trading of slaves within the U.S. was not prohibited. And this is also because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I do know that going back to that time too, we were one of the last ones, if not the last ones, and I don't know what you would call that back then. It wasn't the industrialized world, the West, or countries that were big enough. I don't know.
The West, yeah.
That the French and the Brits and those other countries had already abolished slavery going back decades prior to when we finally did it. Mm-hmm. Despite the international ban on the importation of African slaves, Cuba continued to transport captive Africans to its sugar plantations until the 1860s, and Brazil to its coffee plantations until the 1850s. On June 28th, 1839, 53 slaves recently captured in Africa left Havana, Unana. He took me back to East Atlanta.
I like that song.
It's starting to wear on
good.
me. Yeah, but it's already...
She's talented, actually, that girl.
What's her name? Cabela?
Camila Cabello.
Yeah, Cabello. Mm-hmm. Havana, Unana.
She's become an activist for Latino rights and stuff.
Okay. Well, the song's it's not your fault, Cabello, that the song's starting to wear on me. It's just being played a lot on the radio. And I played at every one of my gigs too. So on this day in 1996, comedian George Burns dies at the age of 100. That's the year you were born, right? 96?
Yes.
So George Burns means nothing to you, right?
No. I don't know who that is.
I don't even think to recommend to her any music would make, or any old movies like Oh God or any of those. You know, you probably wouldn't be funny to you, probably. I don't know.
Older movies are cool. I mean, it's just, I feel like since I don't know the name, I wouldn't be able to. I don't know anything about him.
All right, let's see what they say about George Burns here. Let's give him some love. On this day, 1996, the legendary cigar chomping performer George Burns dies in his home in Beverly Hills, California, just weeks after celebrating his 100th birthday. Born Nathan Birnbaum, he was one of 12 children. Jeez.
My mom is one of 12 children.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I only have a brother.
All right, I'm one of 4.
She learned.
A different time. Mm-hmm. As a young child, he sang for pennies on street corners and in saloons. At the age of 13, he started a dance academy with a friend. So he was born in 1896.
That's super cool.
1896.
That's insane, though. Just thinking about the gap of time.
1896, and at 13, he's dancing in the streets singing for pennies. In 1922, Burns was performing the latest in a string of song and dance acts in Newark, New Jersey, when he teamed up with a fellow performer, Gracie Allen. Burns and Allen. Though Allen began as the straight one in their partners, her natural comedic ability prompted Burns to rewrite their material to give her most of the punchlines. From then on, Burns played the straight man to Allen's ditz with hilarious results. One of the great movies that he did. I don't know if it's great. If I go back and watch it, if I'm going to think it's funny or not, but he plays God. He played God and I don't know if they did 2 or 3 of them, but Oh God. And I think there was, the second one was Oh God, You Devil. And I don't know. Again, you go back and watch some of these. Sometimes they still pop, and sometimes you're like, what the hell? What the hell was that? All right, let's put up stuff you should know. And then, what time is it? I got to set up some lives. We got I got 3 today that I got to do after the show.
All right, so let's fly through it. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, Free for All Friday. Well, that's what this has been. Beer makes you smarter. Let's get right to that bad boy right here.
Beer in the shower makes you smarter.
Where beer in there it is. There it is.
And more creative.
All right, we'll see. Science proves that drinking beer in the shower makes people smarter and more creative. When you think about beer, chances are a few things come to mind. You probably think you're getting a nice buzz on, or maybe the bloated feeling you get from having a few too many. What you probably don't think about is that drinking beer, or by drinking a beer, you're doing something good for you. Well, ladies and germs, all that changes today. So this is coming from Likes Swift. This might be clickbait.
It might be, but we can look at it.
Right. When I see likesswifty.com, I'm going, this is a site made for clickbait so that morons like me would click on it.
I mean, the headline itself is like kind of a joke anyway, so It's fine, even if it is clickbait.
It turns out everyone's favorite guilty pleasure, shower beers, might actually be super good for you. Time to crack open a cold one. Turns out that drinking booze of your choice could actually make you more artistic. See, I'm sorry.
I mean, I pulled it up. It's okay.
No, it's my fault. It is my fault. That is clickbait all day long.
I mean, hey, if you want to have a beer in the shower, we'll just go for it, man.
All right. Next up, I'm with you on that one. Next up, though, bogus traffic citations. Be careful on this one. For those, I've been popped by a red light, those red light cameras. Mm-hmm. This is a story coming out of krtv.com and they want people to know that you have to be careful that you're getting scammed. It's an email scam alert. These scammers are bold. They sent this email to one of our records technicians at her work email address. Be sure you don't fall for this. If you get a traffic citation in Great Falls, either by one of our officers, a Cascade County Sheriff's, you will know it. Pass it on. So just one of those things. Be careful because you see this and and all of a sudden you're freaking out because you think they're going to be coming after you, and you pay your fine and you've just wasted your money and sent it to some scammer.
I got an email, actually, that's funny, yesterday from someone just randomly, and the email, I'm going to try to pull it up, but the email, it said, "Congratulations, I will be giving you $5 million. Thanks, Anita." And I was like, great. Congratulations to me.
Thanks, Anita.
Thanks. Just stuff like that. I'm like, what is this?
I wonder how many people click on, like, if
there was a link. It was, it was
right.
like, congratulations. Click here for your $5 million.
Yeah, because the chances are, as soon as you click on that link, you are all of a sudden there.
You give them money.
Yeah, something is downloading into your computer. God knows what's happening at that point. But that stuff has to work, or else they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It has to work, or else.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And it's sad because that they're preying on the ignorant then, the old people, those who don't know. And,
I'll let you know when my $5 million comes through.
All right. So what do you think about Trump and Kim Jong-un meeting for the first time?
That's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
President Donald Trump, as you see in the stuff you should know, I put the title "Un Bates Trump." I don't know if this is true or not. This is just this is just something that popped in my head. But President Donald Trump has agreed to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, the White House announced, setting the scene for an unprecedented encounter between two nations that only recently threatened to wipe each other out. The talks would be the first between a sitting U.S. president and a North Korean leader and will take place by May, according to South Korea's national security advisor, who delivered the invitation to Trump after a visit by his delegation to Pyongyang earlier this week. Now, you guys, I told you what I think this is. I think this is Putin. I think this is the Russians or the Chinese going, hey, we got a great play for you right now. This is just basic strategy, gameplay. You guys have been whipping out your penises over the past year and flopping them around and trying to see who's bigger. Well, at this point of the game, you become the leader, Mr. Un. All right? Here's what you're going to do. You establish a relationship with open up communications with South Korea, come to some kind of agreement between them. You guys are unifying the the peninsula there. Then you're going to make an offer through South Korea. We're going to send South Korea to America to make an offer to Trump to sit down and have talks about nuclear proliferation or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is Un baiting Trump. And because right now it looks like Un's the level-headed guy. Well, everybody knows that's not true. Neither one of them are level-headed, but this I think it was a bold move. Now it's interesting that the president immediately said, "Yeah, we'll have talks by May," he said. But I have a feeling that is going to change a little bit as we move forward as well to make sure that it appears that the president has control over this meeting. You guys play poker at all? One of the things in poker is has to do with table image and how you want people to see you, perceive you at the table, so that you could take advantage of the misinformation that you're giving them at the right time. And one of the approaches, but your table image can also vary depending on the other people at the table. For instance, if I sit down at a table and it's very conservative, everybody's playing very tight, well, then I want to do the opposite. There at the beginning, I want to rattle their cages. I want to see how they react in the beginning, play a little bit loose, and see if I can get things moving and get some information along the way, win some hands along the way. If I get to a table and it's great, there's a bunch of crazy guys sitting at the table, and they're just tossing money. They're going all in. They're calling you no matter what. Well, then that's when I play tight. You sit back, you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait until you finally get the nuts, until you finally get the goods. Then you go, boom, I'm going all in. You know they're going to come in with you, and hopefully things hold up and probably some luck doesn't bite you in the ass. So I think this is at one of those moments where they were sitting in that they've been, the two presidents were sitting at the table for so long playing this wild, crazy guy. And now one of them, Kim Jong-un, has come forward, switched his game up, switched his table image up, and now is trying to look like I'm the sane leader that is trying to work through this problem. Will you meet with me, President Trump? And I also think it was motivated. It wasn't their idea. I think this was the Russians or the Chinese that are going, this is the move you need to make right now. It's not conspiracy. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy. I'm saying this is my read on it, my take. Next up, Trump does stuff. Trump says stuff. Some people angry, some people happy.
I think
there's one Obama thing that I did. Do you have something?
it's not really a thing. It's just something that came out yesterday that Obama is trying to work with Netflix to produce a series about topical issues that happened during his presidency.
A series of high-profile shows that will provide him a global platform after his departure from the White House. Under terms which are not yet final, they would pay Mr. Obama and his wife, Michelle, for exclusive content that would be available only on the streaming service, which has nearly 118 million subscribers. Mr. Obama does not intend to use his Netflix shows to directly respond to President Trump or conservative critics, according to people familiar. They said the Obamas had talked about producing shows that highlight inspirational stories.
I could see that. That's kind of up their alley.
All right, so they're going to follow Oprah's lead.
They're very articulate, so I'm sure that they'd just try to be talking about different topics.
What do you mean they're very articulate?
Like, they're both good speakers, him and his wife.
I was trying to bait you.
I know, but like that's it. That was all I had to say, is that they're both good speakers.
Elliot, that's why I always throw a drink in someone's face immediately. Gauge the crowd. Shower whiskey's way better than shower beer.
Shower
Drew.
Oh man.
Farmer Bill. All right. Well, thank you so much for. Wait, hold on. That's it. You got everything out of your way. All right.
Good.
I got everything that I wanted to get to. I think I'm pretty good today. All right. So thank you so much for being. We gotta remind. Never mind. It's not your job to remind me of anything.
What do you need?
No, I just one of the things that I need to do, and maybe I'll make sure this is shored up by the time. Why is this the focus on? It's probably the lights today. That I need to come up with an ending for the show. Even if it's something. So our quote of the day. All right, so that's it for the Wake.Show today.
Yeah, go ahead. Give them something to go into the weekend with. Something positive.
Here's your quote of the day. Just keep hang in there.
Hang on, hang in there. There's a quote of the day website. I'll give you guys a quote of the day.
And remember, hang in there.
Respect is what we owe. Love what we give.
There we go. What'd you say again?
The quote of the day is respect is what we owe. Love what we give.
There we go. Have a great weekend. What plans? What kind of plans do you have, real quickly?
We're going on a wine tour tomorrow. My boyfriend and I. We're going to a winery in Clearwater and going to a wine tasting.
That is very cool.
I'm very excited about it.
I'll be working. I won't be home until 10:30 tonight. I've got a mother-son dance to do later. Then tomorrow morning up early, running around, and I got a wedding that I got a DJ at night. So
Strawberry Festival this weekend. I'm not going, but I know a lot of people are.
And
it's supposed to be beautiful.
Gasparilla Music Festival as well.
It's supposed to be a gorgeous weekend.
Elliot, I've got your tickets. Tomorrow morning after I'm done at Alexis Diamond House, I'll text you or call you and then figure out where you are and just bring your tickets to you. Or we'll meet somewhere, whatever you want to do. Meet for some late lunch or something, or late breakfast. All right, thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show. Have a great day.